Hello and welcome to another episode of Polygon Live from GDC 2014. We are here checking out another great game. In this case, the game is N++, and we are very proud to be joined by Metanet Software, the team behind N++. We have Raigan Burns and Mare Sheppard, co-founders of Metanet, and they are here to let us experience the horrors of this insanely difficult platformer that they've created. Guys, I'm a big fan of your past work, the original N, now N+, and then now N++, which is coming to PS4 and PC, is that right?
So far just PS4.
Just PS4 for now. Very exciting. Please let us jump in and experience it, and hopefully you guys can sort of fill me in on what the big differences are, what you guys are really focusing on for the sequel.
Okay.
Cool.
Do you want to give it a shot, or?
Oh, you want me to just start? Or do you want to like ease me into it like it's hot water?
We can do the tutorial.
Yeah, we now have a tutorial,
Okay.
which like runs you through the basics, and I mean, it might
Am I going to crush the tutorial though? Because I've played a lot of N+.
Yeah, you probably will. I mean,
You could start at the end of the tutorial.
yeah, that's true.
Okay.
You could start. We have this is like the tutorial boss.
Sure. Give me a decent challenge, and while I'm playing, maybe you can describe what we're looking at.
Okay. Let's give this a shot. No, you know what? Let's just start you on the real levels.
Okay.
This is a good
Sounds
one. It has one of the new enemies
Yeah.
that we put in, the evil ninja. That's the spawn point there.
Okay, sweet.
So this is an idea that we've had, like, we saw, they showed cursor times 10 at the experimental gameplay workshop in 2008. And
Which
we
was
were,
just after we finished N+.
yeah, just after we finished N+. And so we were like, oh man, that would be amazing in a platformer.
Yeah.
Like something that just follows behind what you did. I mean, this is sort of it also has those toggle mines at the bottom. So those are like, again, they're
Finish
sort
the
of,
evil ninja first.
oh yeah, okay, back to the evil ninja. This isn't easy. This is sort of like intro to the evil ninja level where there's just one of them, but you can stack as many as you want. So some of them, like if you put 10 or 20 and then you have this chain of them, some of which are like 30 seconds in the past, which you don't even remember what you did. And you just have to sort of react to them.
Right, I forgot about falling damage.
Yeah. That's,
Yeah, pretty much everything is out to kill you.
So essentially this is copying what you've just done.
exactly. So you're kind of screwing yourself.
Yeah.
Like
yeah.
we
You're
thought.
confronting your past.
Yeah, exactly. It's a
deep.
really deep metaphor for sure. And the toggle mines at the bottom are like
That's another new
thematically similar, I guess, in that they're safe to move through the first time, then they turn into mines.
Oh, I see.
So, I mean, this level, it's like a pretty boring use of them, but it's really interesting from a level design standpoint because then you can sort of let the player run through them willy-nilly, but then when they have to backtrack, they've kind of created a lot of problems that they then have to deal with. Or that if they take more time, then they don't toggle them into mines, and then they can just whiz by them on the way back, although there's often not a lot of time to take.
It's part of that, like you sort of found people like were just going down the safe route in the original game, and this sort of encourages people to vary it up.
Yeah, and I mean, it's sort of like you're changing the level as you play it. It just, like, we tried to make the levels a bit more dynamic, and I mean, same like with all the colors and the graphics and stuff, we were trying to sort of add a bit more life to things.
Yeah, because over the 10 years that we've been working on this series, we've made a ton of levels, and we've kind of really exhausted a lot of ideas. So a lot of the new entities are about how can we make this kind of fresh again? How do we open up new avenues for making levels.
So obviously the Ghost Ninja that we've seen, are there any other seriously devious traps that I should be wary of?
Yes.
Yeah, there are a few. There are little pads that boost you in whatever direction you're currently moving.
So they're really, I mean, that means you can access areas that you couldn't previously jump to, and you also get sped up in the process.
I see.
But you can also get sped into the ground, and as you've already seen many times, that'll kill you.
Yes, I'm realizing now I have a real tough time talking while playing this game, so maybe I'll ask some questions and then we'll go on.
Right.
We were talking about how graphically taxing the game is, even though it might not appear that way. What are some of the things that are going on here that might be kind of pushing the boundaries of the hardware?
Really, it's just the way that all the graphics are drawn. I'm not sure, like, it's not super clear on a TV because TVs usually blur things, but you can't see any pixels anywhere because we're doing some really nice anti-aliasing. Actually, I should mention, we're not the entire team working on this.
Okay.
The person who's programming it is actually Sean McGrath, who made Dyad.
Yeah, he's an amazing programmer.
He's
Yeah,
here
he's
in
tremendous.
spirit via my shirt.
Yes, I saw the shirt.
So, and like, this is actually about the summer before we started working on this. We went over to his place because this way of doing graphics is something we've always wanted to try.
Sure.
And so we kind of sat down with him and we're like, hey, could you try this? And he like knocked up a prototype and it totally works. So we're like, okay, this is awesome. We can totally do this.
Yeah.
So the whole back end is different?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's all like custom vector renderer that he wrote in a few months. So like here in this level, you can kind of see how the toggle mines.
Yeah, what are you doing to yourself?
Yeah. Well, the first pass through, I mean, if you're thinking about it, you can kind of try to plan a route so that your second pass isn't hellish, but in any case, it's going to be really hard to get through it.
Oh,
next
wow,
time.
that's brutal.
But anyway, so like it looks very simple, and we really wanted to try to keep things like clean and minimal because that's the style that we really like, and we think it's really underrepresented, but also great for games, especially this kind of game where anything too visually noisy is just distracting and makes it harder to play.
Right.
And
Sure.
it's already hard enough.
Yeah.
Without any kind of visual. This is a new enemy. It's sort of it's similar to a rocket in that it tracks to you, but it's slower and it doesn't die when it hits things. It just kind of slides along the ground.
Right now, we're calling it the Death Ball, but that's just a working title.
He seems kind of cute.
Yeah. He's cute until there's like an enclosed space that you're trapped in.
Oh, sure.
Then it becomes not so cute.
Oh, God, intense.
Yeah.
So obviously, difficulty a big part of N+ and M++, I'm sure. Looking at it now, obviously, just as difficult, if not more so. How do you guys balance that? How do you find a way to not have it be insanely frustrating? Is that just all constant play testing, or?
Yeah.
We do have a policy of like each of us has to beat the levels that the other person makes.
Okay.
So that, I mean, the thing is,
keeps us honest.
at this point we're pretty good, but yeah, I mean, at least we know that it's possible.
Sure.
So that players will know
Sure.
that it's possible. But there's a lot of variation between levels. Like we find it actually the hardest levels to make are the really easy levels because it's difficult to keep them, engaging and interesting and not just boring and you just do a series of jumps and that's it. We always want there to be something that you have to figure out or a difficult move that you have to really concentrate and make, but that inevitably makes the level super difficult. And so yeah, it's a really difficult process, and all we know how to do is just kind of keep playing and keep organizing and keep shuffling the levels around until they make sense.
Sure.
Showing it at Bit Summit was good. I mean,
yeah.
Typically we do a really bad job of making them easy enough. I mean, they get really hard, but we always try to make a more like a nice learning curve. Not a nice learning curve, but a learning curve, not a cliff.
Right.
So that you have time to learn the skills you need. But historically, we never do a good job in the first pass. So it's always nice to go to a festival with it, because when people, like the second level in this, half the people couldn't beat.
Mm-hmm.
So, that was the one with, what, the death ball you were talking about?
Oh, no. It's got a rocket in it.
Oh, okay.
Here, I can
Rockets are
start
nasty.
it right here. So like the second level, the one after this, a lot of people got stuck there. And so that was like a really good, there's nothing more depressing than a level you did not realize was so easy. So it makes us sort of go over and
Sure.
but I mean, really it is just iteration. Like I don't know, it takes maybe half an hour to make each level, but then there's 2 or 3 hours of, we just go through it again and, oh crap, this isn't the right level. Go through it again and again, like play test with friends, and also like showing it to the public is really the best.
Yeah.
Yeah, like I think
Keeps you honest.
it's true, and it's amazing how many times we've found that, oh, this is actually really hard. You get so used to it so gradually that it's hard to see what new players will think. So yeah, going to festivals is great.
Was this the problematic level?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the way we play too is pretty different than other people. So
Sure.
It requires having a grasp of the physics of it, which
Angles are very tricky
yeah.
to learn. That's definitely, I remember that being the big learning curve. Yeah. And so how do you sort of react to that? What do you do? You just you know, just make small adjustments, or do you scrap the level entirely, or?
Well, I think sometimes, like, what's been really gratifying at festivals is people will sit there, and even though it's, you know, very difficult or very frustrating, they keep playing. Like, you can tell that this is how we know maybe we need to make it a little easier, maybe we need to put it in a different place, but that it's not so bad because people want to keep playing. And then when they finally finish that level, you can tell that, like, it's a moment for them. And
it's
like,
unbelievable.
It's just so
There's
great.
no feeling like that.
Yeah. So
really, like, we might move it later in the order of levels.
Sure.
But sometimes there are, like, I mean, a lot of these levels started off way harder, but then when we were playtesting them together, like, whoever was playing would get stuck, and then we'd be like, oh wait, okay, if we just change this one thing, it instantly becomes easier. Or sometimes, oh wait, if I put something there, then it would get a lot harder.
There's a lot of that too.
Yeah.
Because, like, I mean, at the end of the day, it's a really hard game. So we have to, there's a weird balance where we have to kind of figure out how to guide people into, you know, okay, some of these moves or some of these levels are kind of easier, but then it's going to get really hard.
Right.
So we want them to like that. Like, we want them to really go for that challenge, but we don't want them to be frustrated and angry about that challenge.
Sure.
It's a fine line.
It is, I'll bet.
Because you do want that catharsis when you, the thing about it is you know you can beat it.
Right.
You know when you can beat it, and you don't want it to be too easy or too hard, so finding that balance. I mean, we sort of cheat in that, like, our solution is brute force. We give you so many levels that you're guaranteed to, like, hit your stride and sort of get up to speed kind of thing. So, like, if there were only a few levels, it would be a lot harder to make sure that you hit that nice pocket of not too hard, not too easy kind of thing.
Crazy palette shift.
Yeah. So that's another of the new things. We're experimenting with colors because I think one of the things that people can't really see past necessarily is how N and N+ have looked.
Yeah.
But we want them to see how much fun it is to control this ninja. So one of the things we've been trying to do is just make it a lot more visually
Dynamic.
appealing.
Getting to a new series of levels feels like a bigger accomplishment than just like, oh, I went up a number.
Yeah.
And also, you're going to be able to freely change these. We don't know if we're doing any kind of, like, locking, unlocking stuff, but there's going to be a set of them that you can flip through.
Oh, cool.
So it's sort of a way of letting people have the experience they would like the most.
Yeah.
Whereas, like, we'll try to make sure that they're all playable, they all look good, but I mean, Mare's favorite color scheme isn't the same as mine, and so I sort of prefer to play one or the other, and we just think it's, I mean, we like the gray. We like the original gray, but we understand that not everyone does, and we also have always wanted to try to kind of push things more. We just never really had the time or capability. This time we worked with a graphic designer called Massa for a few months, I guess, last summer.
Yeah.
And we had dabbled with color before, but he really he was throwing neons and stuff at us. And initially we were like, oh no, that's not going to work. Like, no. But then when we tried it, and we were like, oh, you know what? Like, this is totally fun. Like, it's for sure you might want the most extreme color schemes. You're not going to want to use those on the hardest levels. But they certainly make the easier levels a lot more interesting and they just feel nicer.
Yeah. I always find that super satisfying, and I mess around with that stuff all the time. I was just playing Luftrausers, and there's a ton of unlockable schemes like that as well, and it just sort of personalizes your experience. I would this seems like a nice change of pace visually, just because it's so clean. And, everything really pops.
The explosions are really nice in this one too.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Oh, that's slick.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think this is sort of meant partially to be like a retro vector arcade game reference.
Oh shit.
But also a bit modern.
Yeah.
Yeah. Is the ninjas now lines, right? It used to be a thicker, more substantial ninja.
Yeah, with flares. It's something we're still working with. We thought that the lines worked with the cleaner visuals. However, something we didn't anticipate. When we made the triangle ninja initially, it was sort of just engineering, where we tried straight. We tried flared one way, we tried flared the other way, and it read the best, having the flares at the end. You got the sense of speed, and also when it becomes a ragdoll, the problem with the current ninja with just lines is that you can't read it it's not as clear, oh, that's a leg
Right.
or whatever. It's because it's just lines.
Yeah.
So we're still not 100%. We have a triangle ninja in there, and we're still toying with it. Like it's still not done. So
It'll probably be a fun lockable.
Yeah. There are going to be lots of fun lockables.
Yeah, no, that's good. Did you trademark that phrase?
We did.
Anyone can use it though.
Really? Candy Crush people can use it?
Yeah, I don't know about that.
Maybe we'll do a patent swap with that.
Good idea. I know this also has co-op, which I definitely wanted to check out. Co-op was in N+. Insanely difficult, if only because like I'm obsessive about platformers, but finding someone else that's just as obsessive as I am that I don't want to strangle is very difficult.
Especially, you're going to want to strangle them after you've played
Yes,
it.
exactly. So was that the mindset? You're basically just trying to find levels that would still be enjoyable for 2 to 4 people?
Yeah.
I mean, the thing is, with 2 to 4 people, you can make them even harder than they normally are because you kind of have, help.
Yeah.
In theory, like really, a lot of the levels that we make, there's a mix. Like some co-op levels are each person has a specific job that they have to do, and some of them are, it's more open. Anyone can kind of do whichever part of the level that they want, but generally they're harder. Which
we're really proud of some of the co-op levels. Like they're just really devious, especially with those toggle mines. There are a lot of levels where one of you has to stand over it and hold it safe so the other one can run back and forth, but there's like a rocket coming for the person who's holding it. And there's just like lots of really cool tense, like that's all the new enemies we added. We really tried to make sure that they encourage interaction and interplay between people because the game wasn't really designed for multiplayer initially.
Sure.
And I mean, we really only added it because Microsoft said we had to if we wanted to put it on Xbox Live. But when we added co-op, we're like, oh my God, this is actually like tons of fun.
it was great.
And so it's been really great to sort of explore and add on to that. Also, Nick and Brian at Sony, who are the people who are working with us.
Yeah.
They apparently met. Like the first thing they did because I guess it was when Nick just joined Sony.
Sure.
Anyways, the first thing they did that they sort of bonded over was play N+ co-op together. So it's good. Like we've kind of like got a good early testing audience that.
Yeah, that's a good sign. When you have people over at Sony that are totally on board to the point of obsession, that's always a good thing.
We're really hoping that this doesn't end their friendship. It's kind of.
That's the thing.
It started.
It's always those levels that are like one person has to like jump around and survive this rocket, and the other person has to do like very little. And it's like, why did you not? And it's just infuriating.
We kind of take a bit of sadistic glee in making those.
I can tell.
We know what it's like.
You could sense it as you play these levels. You're like, there is someone up in Canada grinning right now.
It's true. I mean, that's another thing that we try to do when we make levels is frustrate the other person or make them laugh. Or like Raigan really loves putting in surprise endings. So it's a difficult level, you've made it all the way to the end, and then there's a mine that you didn't see, or like a floor chaser that
jumps out at you.
That's brutal.
It's great.
I'm trying to tone it down a bit because you lose the element of surprise if you do it too often.
Yeah.
But
True.
every once in a while, just getting with a little trick is really nice.
Okay, where do you
Let's
want
see
to
some of these co-op.
Yeah, I don't know what's good. Maybe something. The co-op ones are currently way too hard, so I don't know. Like, let's just start with
we'll
this,
start
I
here.
guess.
Okay.
Oh, whoops, sorry, I didn't join.
Oh, whoops. Oh, I gotta quit.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, now I'm good. Oh, crap.
Oh yeah, you're a horrifying blue ninja.
This is like the 0000FF color because we failed to make co-op colors.
Oh.
Sadly, that's fixed in the latest build, which we don't have with us, stupidly. But anyways, yeah, about obsessive people at Sony. Really, there are like a whole bunch of reasons why we're doing this now, but one big one that we want to give a shout out to is Nick Sutner at Sony, who essentially every year since N+ came out has bugged us to make a version of N for Sony, and because he really liked N+, and like when we made N+, we were really like burnt out for a few years. I mean, we didn't know that we would ever revisit it. But then we found ourselves like making levels in our spare time because it's like a fun sort of creative hobby.
Yeah.
It's like a Zen garden.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So we were doing that, and then sort of, I guess it was like last year or the year before, we saw him at GDC. And this time when he asked us, we were like, you know what? Like, we'll think about it. We'll totally think about it. Because we always told him, like, if we were ever going to, we'll let you know, but we don't know that we're ever going to.
Shoot.
But it was really, like, it's just really awesome to work with people.
I'm dead.
I'm sorry. To work with people who care
Yeah.
and like your game and who understand it. It's been like a really awesome experience.
Yeah. Well, how much of the stuff that you guys have added here was cut from the original N+? Was it like enemies and stuff?
No, I think all of this is new. Like, we didn't, like, that evil ninja thing, we were at that presentation literally like 2 days after the game shipped.
Yeah.
So it was like, that was like odd. But no, all of this is like, we had just have come up with it in the past year or so.
Yeah.
The graphics certainly is something, like, that's something we wanted to do.
Yeah.
But we just weren't able to for mostly time reasons, because it took several months. And
I feel like I need like an ultra zoomed in to like compare and contrast the two.
yeah.
Because obviously in my memory, it's like, oh yeah, it looks pretty similar.
Oh yeah, the shapes are generally similar. It's
Yeah.
really, if you just look at the Ninja, the old one is very jaggy on the side. Like, it's the sort of thing that we don't think a lot of people are gonna explicitly, I think you might have to hit X, explicitly notice.
Yeah.
But you feel it. Like, it just, everything feels a bit, like the movement feels a bit smoother. That's something we've really been trying to do, is focus on, like, okay, it's a fun game, it feels good. Can we make it feel just that little bit better? So now it's like running at 60 frames per second, and the anti-aliasing lets you feel the sub-pixel movement.
Yeah.
The, like, just little fractions of a pixel that matter a lot in this game, and I don't know. So that's something that we wanted to do with N+ that we weren't able to.
Yeah, because like N and N+ have been, oh man, that was, they're good, you know, like they're good solid games, but they're always just these tiny little things that we knew could be better. So that's what this one's been about.
Also level sharing.
And
that
level
was
sharing,
something that we really, it was.
Oh, you're dead
Sorry,
again?
I'm dead. I'm totally dead. It was actually working in N+, but we, like, then someone put a swastika on a car in Forza. So
yeah.
We're forced to cut it.
yeah.
Sad.
But
So
this
this
time,
time-
yeah, we're doing it, because this is for sure the absolute last version we're ever going to make. Which we, like, because we're making like 1,000 levels, so we have run out of
this is gonna
levels,
be-
essentially.
I'm
We
sure
couldn't
it's
make
tapped.
another one
Yeah.
if we wanted to.
Yeah.
So we want to make sure we're doing it right. And, like, level sharing is one of those big things that we thought we got to, like, actually execute this properly. Which is,
Because that's one of the things that's made N so popular, you know, has been so popular for such a long time. People really love making levels and really love being able to share them with whoever.
Yeah.
So, I mean, if it's going to be called N++, it's got to have that.
Gotta have it in there. I'm gonna ask you one last question before I wrap it up.
All right.
Vita, any plans, or are you just focusing on PS4?
Okay, I'll get it. We're really hoping that we can do Vita. I mean, we have to do PS4 first and get it done right so that we know that, like, this is good, it was worth it, it's amazing. So, but after that, I mean, it would be really nice to play it on Vita, because it's a great game for playing on the subway or in transit, basically. So we'd like to, but we don't know yet.
The only downside is the Vita, you know, much more expensive than a controller, so if you throw the Vita on the ground, that's like a real investment that you're losing. Thank you so much for joining us, guys. It was
Thanks
great.
so much.
We are super, super psyched to play more N++. It looks awesome. I can feel it. It's tingling. Thanks again, and thanks for watching Polygon Live. We'll be here all week checking out a bunch of great indie games, so check it out later. Adios.